Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's head to our first discussion of the day. In 38 days from now, the Nigerians will head to the polls to elect a new president that will oversee their affairs for the next 4 years. Presidential candidates are in the thick of campaigns, traveling round the country, holding town halls and various meetings, breaking down their plans for the country and for people to understand. So far, 4 candidates appear to be the front runners, and many Nigerians are of the belief that the next president will emerge amongst the persons of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, candidate of the APC, Atiku Abubakar, candidate of the PDP, Peter Obi, the candidate of the Labour Party, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, candidate of the NNPP. All 4 candidates have at one time or the other held political office, and the electorate say that they will judge them and vote based on their track records. These are some of the things we'll talk about. But what are the issues that will shape the pattern of voting as the people make their verdict? Joining us now via Zoom from Texas, in the United States, is the convener and national coordinator of the Social Rehabilitation Group and the medical doctor as well, Marindoti Charles Oludare. It's nice to have you join me right now, Charles.
Hi, Sam. Nice to have you. I enjoyed the conversation that I've been listening through your program.
Great. Right now, let's head it. Let's face it this way. We've seen how the campaigns are thickening, and a lot of there's a buzz around how it's going as we build up into the election. But I know you've been following developments and what people are saying and what people are not saying, what they're saying with their voices, what they're saying with their action, and all of that. But from your perspective, how are you rating how the campaigns are going so far? Is it going the right way, or there's so much rhetorics in the air?
Thank you very much for the question. So for the campaigns, personally, all politicians will try to sway people to their own, side. But the most important thing that I think the people should, especially the youth, I'm approaching my mid-30s, so I think that makes me a young man. The most important thing that I think the people should focus on is not just on what the candidates are saying, but on what they want. So we live in a global village. The world economy is interconnected. The way for us to access that economy is by having electricity to connect to get on a laptop, to get on the internet. And in Nigeria right now, we do not have electricity constant. And so people need to understand, look at the track record, look at people who have feasible plans to fix electricity. I'll give you a case in point right now. In the United States, when you try to access customer care service, almost all of those services are provided by Indians. Now, Nigerians will speak better English than Indians, sorry to say. So that's just what we say. So why are those outsourcing not taken to Nigeria? Because we don't have electricity. Are those being taken to Nigeria? That would be Nigerian youths working, earning dollars, earning good pay. And when you look at the situation, because when I was a young boy, I always wondered why we always wouldn't have electricity. Then I grew up and I started to study how it operates everywhere else, and I saw that what Tinubu has been saying has been the way all along. When it comes to the situation with electricity, we don't need Egyptian mummies to teach us how to fix it. We just need to create a system. Electricity is being sold. It's being sold for a profit. So we need a system whereby people can come in, invest, and make money, and then we will benefit from it. And then once the system gets developed, competition will bring the price down, definitely. Tinubu would have fixed electricity over almost 24 years ago, had it been for the Machiavellian intervention of General Obasanjo. You see, so these are the things that the youth need to ask about. How do you want to fix my electricity? When it comes to the issue of, security, with the security situation in the country, plus the police brutality, the youth need to understand the basis of the problem. If we don't understand the basis of the problem, you will not be able to solve it. It's like I heard Sam making a statement the other time about taking paracetamol. You know, you cannot take paracetamol for your malaria and expect the symptoms to go. It will keep on coming back. You need to be able to get to the basis of the problems. And that is what Nigerian youth are facing to do, as opposed to intimate themselves with the intricacies of the problem and try to look for a way out. They are busy making memes on the social media. And that is one of the things that I really I'm perturbed about, because we are the leaders of tomorrow, but tomorrow started yesterday. So we're already late. We need to start taking sensible actions. People don't think about this, but Martin Luther King, when he started the civil rights movement, he was a 26-year-old. He died, when he was killed, he was 39. He had done so much because he intimated himself with the problem. He understood it and he started to solve it. The solution to the security situation we have, and even police brutality, is by decentralizing the police force. In the United States, we don't have a United States Police Department. The police department is based on the localities, the counties, Dallas PD, Harlem PD, Fort Worth PD. Everybody has a police department because security is local. The security situation on one street is different from the security situation on another street. The security situation in VGC is different from that of Ajegule. So you cannot use a VGC standard to judge security or to make decisions in Ajegule. So you need to let people make the decision. And if that occurs, should there be an environment where there's kidnapping, then the people in that community will know we don't want this in our community. We want to be safe. They will mobilize resources. They will smoke out the bad actors. And who has been fighting for this for over 24 years? Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is the sole solution to it. And should police brutality occur, because I know we had the 2020 EndSARS protest 2 years ago, where everybody.
Yes. Yes, you said it's not about what the people say, but what the people want. The question some people have always asked in the political arena over the years and over decades, and even from the beginning of the dawn of democracy, is that the people do not really know what they want. That they have to be spoon-fed. They have to be told what the issues are. They have to be told what things they should follow. And in Nigeria, what happens is that because Nigerians do not always know how to pursue what they want, they hide behind religion, they hide behind ethnicity and all of that. And that itself beclouds the capacity for the electorate to really decide that this is the candidate that will really help me, rather than say, I'm voting for this candidate because I hate that other candidate. Rather than say, I'm voting for this candidate because this is the plan that this candidate has. There are some of the candidates that, the supporters, when you ask them, why do you support this candidate? They can't tell you why. Then they say, oh, the man can change the country, which is neither here nor there, because you have not really interrogated. This even happens even to the most intelligent of people, apparently intelligent of people who have come on public television and in newspapers and on social media to support ideas, to support a candidate, and they have no way of saying it's in a systematic manner why I support this candidate, why I don't support this candidate. So does it mean that democracy itself is just a matter of sentiment and not reason? Because you are trying to push the idea of reason.
Yes, I think in this new generation right now, the democracy has been sentiment. The three ethos of persuasion is the logic, the ethics, and the emotions. And the emotions always is the strongest. So sentiments rouse up emotion. Logic is very hard. So people tend to give in more to their emotions as opposed to logic. But that does not move the needle. That will not solve your problems. So the people need to try as much as possible to understand what is going on. Because if you don't understand, you will not be able to make informed decisions. So we have candidates that will be selling smoke. They complain so much about the problems, and you have the same complaints that they have, So you feel a form of camaraderie right there, like they understand you. But you know what? You will not take your wife to the labor room and you tell him to see the fellow labor woman beside her because they are sharing the same thing. You will tell him to see the doctor or the midwife. So you should not try, you should not be looking for, we are not looking for in this election, we are not looking for a complainer in chief, we are looking for a commander in chief, someone who has assessed the problems and who has been able to come up with detailed solutions, that understands the crux, that knows the limitations of the office of the executive, that knows the importance of the legislators, that knows that the legislators control the purse strings. So he starts going with a team of House of Representatives and senators that will work with him to move the needle. You know, when I think it was Harry Truman that put the box stuff here on the table of the United States president. But for the box to stop, the box had to be passed around. So when, like it was mentioned, when Ashwaju delegated people to, present ideas that would solve problems, the average Nigerian youth could not think that that person is just presenting an idea that was formed by a group of people, a think tank. They see it as this is the person that came up with the idea from heaven or whatever. That is not how growth works. That's not how development occurs. People, good heads, come together to make plans that will make salient changes. And those things that were being spoken about, going into constitution, allowing for multi-level policing, those are the salient solutions to the security. That is the only way where you can scale it up, giving the people the power. So Nigerian youth need to try as much as possible, because I know it is hard, to try to dissuade themselves from giving in to their emotional misgivings. Look with a clear eye at the problem, analyze it. Who is talking feasible solutions to these problems? For me, it is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because I have listened to his utterances for over 2 decades, and he has been saying the right things about every single thing. And then they come out, take 5 second snippet of what he has said, and they say it is incoherent. Now, the definition of coherence is logical relationship between parts of a statement. So what kind of logic were you able to abstract within 5 seconds? And what part of the statement did you relate it to? Your failure to understand what is being said, that is your responsibility. It is you can't be perfect. Even in the Bible, when manna fell from heaven, the people still have to pack it. They have to ration it so that they could eat it later. So we need to be able to, we can't afford to give it to psychological fatigue. We need to be able to intimate ourselves with the problems.
All right. Allow me to ask this issue about everyone playing their part. You spoke earlier, and you've also stressed from what I can take from what you've said, the power that the youth also need to utilize, and this particular election has been said to be unprecedented, so to speak, and could be a game changer if we all get it right. Talking about, turnout, if you monitor the figures from the past elections, I think it was in 2011 or thereabout, and 2009 or thereabout, that we seem to have a voter turnout percentage hitting at least 50%, as against the last election that was, barely 35%. And with the figures of registered voters now and where the youth stand so far, how much of a determinant do you foresee, voter turnout, to be during this particular election?
Well, voter turnout, I mean, there's a lot of voter awareness, especially because of the economic situation in the country right now. But voter turnout, I think, is probably most likely going to be the same, because a lot of the people that you actually even see agitating on social media, I've had these conversations countlessly with a lot of my friends. When I ask where's your PVC, they don't have it. A lot of people, I mean, democracy is hard. It's a lot of work. You have to keep working at it for generations. You have to stand in line for hours. A lot of people don't have that tenacity to stay that long. So I'm hoping that the Nigerian youth will be sensitized and that they will also make informed decisions. But I mean, I believe the jury is still out on that. I would be so, I'll be so happy if we can see a higher degree of participation because participation is needed. However, the participants need to be informed. The information is
All right, Charles, let me ask you this. I know at a time like this, everyone is trying to make promises. People are trying to resort to the place where they have stronger comparative advantage and all of that. But Nigerians are watching. But what do you think are the issues that will create or that will make Nigerians vote in a certain way? What are the issues you're looking at?
for me, the issue that I'm looking at is the issue of economy, actually. The issue of economy, because the economy is so bad right now. And, we have policies that make, the price of the naira so devalued that every other thing is expensive as a result of it. And that worsened by the global situation and all that. So I feel like the most important issue is to look at someone with a track record of performing under adversities. I was a young boy. I didn't understand what was going on then when the situation of the federal government depriving Lagos State of, resources occurred. And, the ingenuity that it took to be able to sustain the finances to re-engineer the finances of the states as large as Lagos and to keep everybody afloat. That in itself is exceptional. That is the kind of re-engineering that we need right now. We need to be able to expand the revenue source, the revenue base. A lot of youths have made a lot of jokes about Agbado, but they do not know that in the state of Iowa, in the year 2021, Agbado revenue, the revenue from the direct sale of Agbado, not on the value added, it was equivalent to 4% of our total GDP. If our revenue represents about 16% of our total GDP, that means the cost of the money made from the sale of Agbado in just one state, not the whole of the United States, in just the state of Iowa, is about 25% of our revenue. Now, if Nigeria was doing that, that would be some Nigerian youth on those farms, selling those things, making those money, adding those values, making alcohol out of it, making whatever, the whole value chain. So we need to be able to look for people with the ingenuity to think out of the box, to do things, those who believe that they can do it, people who are smart. To me, the most important criteria or quality in a candidate I'm looking for is the intellect, the intellectual ability to look at the problem and create solutions to it. We can talk about the issue of subsidy, and a lot of people will say they want to remove subsidy, but we've seen what the cabals have been doing. Whenever you mention remove subsidy, they create scarcity and they cripple the economy. So you have to back out. So you need someone with the intellect and the tact to be able to respond to their ayinike with an ayinikpada. Those are the salient things that we need in Nigeria today. Someone with the smarts, who can bring the tact, who can bring the team with him, who knows that he is not the one man do it all. He needs a team because then they can compensate for things that he cannot know. Those are the things that I feel Nigerian youth should be looking at. Who are you? What have you done? Who are your team?
Well, I heard you talk about the youth moments ago. And I've always contemplated this issue. People say, oh, the youth are going to vote. They give the impression that the youth are just a monolithic block, that they are going to vote one way. And that's the way they have been looking at the youth. But you remember that during the NSAS issue, that the youth were not looking the same way. While those in the South were looking one way, the youth in the North were asking, we want SARS for different reasons. And the Southern youth said, no, we don't want SARS at all. So we will look at the demographic of the youth as you see today. We see that even the youth themselves, you go to the social media, you see that the youth among ethnic groups are fighting each other as well. So we don't have a liberated youth, as we say, and the idea that the youth are going to are going to purify the system seems to me an illusion. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an illusion. The youth are not a monolith. First off, there is even within the same ethnicity, well, the same ethnic group, there are the elite youth and the children of the poor. And people who are the elite, they fail to recognize their numerical disadvantage. That Nigeria is still a very poor country, and majority of the youth are actually within that poor cadre. It's just that the smallest proportion make the loudest noise. They are the ones that get so acerbic on social media and curse everybody out, and then you feel like, even including myself, threatening your life and all of that. And you feel like, oh, this is what the whole world is. But no, a lot of people are actually looking at it strategically with a clear eye. They know what the problem is. They know those who are selling smoke, and they know those who mean to get at the problem. So the notion that the youth are taking over, and I mean, when you look at the youth candidate, I mean, it's not like there's a 35 or 40-year-old person on the race. I mean, all the three majority candidates leading, all the three, let me say 3 or 4 leading candidates attended the same Federal Executive Council meeting. All of them, while Atiku was the vice president, Tinubu was governor, Peter Obi was governor, the same time while Tinubu was governor. Kwankwaso and Peter Obi were governor together too. So what is the old notion of the youth are taking over the youth? I mean, I don't understand. It's all a part of being unable to critically analyze the problem or the situation in front of them. They're just giving into despair, which you can't blame them because the economy is also so hard right now. So the despair is being exploited by some actors. That's what I think.
All right. We have to leave it here now. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles Oludare, the convener and national coordinator of the Social Rehabilitation Group. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate your time. Bye.